Hi, welcome to the Get Ready with God podcast. My name is Julie Taylor and I am your host, and I am not God, obviously, and I am not an expert. I'm not a scriptorian. I'm literally just a girl sitting in front of a microphone hoping God is real. The Get Ready with God podcast is the daily devotional podcast to help you see the divinity in every day. Okay, let's go. Can we talk about results? Can we talk about why we're all so obsessed with results? And can we talk about why that's a problem? Look, I love efficiency, almost to a fault. I love when you can see the payoff because it's easier. Effort becomes easier when you can see the results. Effort without visible, tangible results becomes harder to sustain, especially when it's effort that requires us to sacrifice or be uncomfortable. I think that's one reason why motherhood can feel so hard, because it's a lot of effort and it's a lot of sacrifice, and often the results are actually contrary to what you wish for. But it's easier to work hard when you see it paying off. So let's talk about that in the context of faith. We've talked about before in a previous episode, which if you haven't listened to, go back and catch up. We like results and we like positive results. We like that dopamine hit. But in life and in faith, I don't think that's always how it works. I think we can put a lot of effort into something and not see the payoff. And so if we are only ever willing to sacrifice and to work and to be uncomfortable and to put effort in when we can see the results and when they are favorable and when we get a return on them, I think that we are setting ourselves up for disappointment. A lot of the good things we do, we will never see the payoff from. And I think that that's by divine design. And I actually think that's good because it helps us detach our effort from the results. There are things that we get to see the results of, and that's fun. But there's a lot of things that we are asked to do that are good for us to do that we might never see the payoff of. We might never see the effect of. That's the whole concept of funerals are so sad because the person's dead, obviously, but also because everyone's finally saying all these good things about them. And you're like, man, did anyone say this to them when they were here? Did they get to hear this? Sometimes we don't get to see the good. Art is always more highly valued when the artist dies. It's just one of the weird parts of our world. Sad, really. But I do think that magic happens when we learn a level of willingness that doesn't require validating results. It allows us to live from intrinsic motivation rather than validation. So when we get to a place where we're willing, when we see the value of sacrifice, when we see the value of willingness detached from results, magic happens. When we're willing to show up and sacrifice and try and work and put in effort and serve, and we don't care how it's received, and we don't care if it pays off for us, that's special. Think about the difference in the attitude. If everything we do, we're like, but what's in it for me? What's in it for me? Why should I? What's in it for me? That individualism is destroying our culture. That's dramatic. Something about me is that I'm always dramatic. But I think that there's this new wave of self-serving and obsession with self and lack of service that is concerning. And I've fallen into the trap myself. So this is not me calling you out. It's me calling myself out. But that gives us this motivation of validation. And that never is sustainable. We have to learn to see the value in our effort regardless of how it's received. This podcast is a good example of that. These episodes are bad. I know. I'm a beginner here. I've produced other people's podcasts, but I'm a beginner here. These are rough. The sound isn't great. I'm just alone in my room producing it by myself. I do believe it's going to get better, so please hold on with me. But I have to keep trying. I have to find some value in the effort and showing up here regardless of downloads. If anyone likes it, please download. Please share it with your friends. Please give me positive feedback. But really, I can't show up here and just do it for validation. I can't wait to show up here until it's perfect. There has to be value in the effort. So often, the most important things we do are things that we won't see the payoff from. Motherhood, serving other people, what we put out into the world, you don't know how that's being received. What I have noticed, though, in faith specifically, is when I put in effort consistently, the overall trajectory of things changes. I can't say this caused this to happen. I can't directly correlate, I made this choice and it made this happen. But I can say that when I'm consistently prioritizing service and faith and God and giving and effort and willingness, and I'm trying, things change for me. I change. My life changes. And so rather than signing up and saying, I will do this if I get this, I will do this as long as it goes my way. I will do this as long as I can tangibly see the payoff. What if we just say, hey, I'm willing to try and I don't know how it's going to go, and it's okay if it doesn't go well. I'm going to serve this person because I believe in service, not because I need a certain response from them. Look, we all need validation. It is a basic human need that I think has been really villain, specifically against women, because women historically have not had systems of validation built in the way that men have. We all need it. So let's stop pretending that we don't. I'm not saying that we don't need validation, But I think that when we connect our effort to necessary validation, it sets us up for a trap, for disappointment, and not being motivated the right way. And when you're not motivated from the right places, it's not sustainable and it's actually not fulfilling. So if we're treating everything in our life like this trial system where we're like, I'll do this if I get this, and if not, I'm out, then we're going to end up cutting off a lot of people. We're going to end up not having a lot of experiences, and we're just going to kind of end up on an island, and we're going to really isolate ourselves and miss out on a lot of goodness. Instead, let's place the value on the effort. Let's place the value on the sacrifice. Let's place the value on the willingness and release the results. They're not always going to be tangible. You're not always going to be able to see them, but the effort matters. The willingness matters. The service matters. So as you go through your day today, look for the divinity, because that's what we do here, but also notice your effort, notice your sacrifice, notice your service, and put some value on that. And when things don't go the way you want, when that person doesn't respond the way that you had hoped, say that's okay. Because that's not where I put the value anyways, because we actually can't control it. You might just feel a little bit more fulfilled today or a little more taken advantage of. I don't know. It could go either way. Look, I'm just throwing out ideas. Okay. Love you. Bye.